We are at the Safe House, and they have a storage facility where they keep all the medical supplies and humanitarian aid. As you can see here, this is a box of medicine that they're going to be using for their mobile medical clinics in the Donbas. Anton, can I bother you for a moment?
Of course. Hey guys.
What do you got going on here?
We are sorting out all the medical supplies that we have here so far, also getting ready to receive some more. We are launching the mobile clinic work on a full-time basis from this week, so we'll be traveling usually 3-4 times a week, visiting different remote villages close to the front lines, or simply villages that are cut off from primary healthcare for one reason or another.
And one of the things that I think people back home should know is essentially what your organization does, like so many others, is you fill the gaps. So there are big organizations here. The UN is here, but it's a big country, and there's the need, the scale of need is huge, and there's no way that organizations can help everybody that needs it. So one of the things that Base UA does is they go where no one else goes, and they fill those gaps.
Yeah, I think it's a very good coordination and collaboration. As a small organization, we can go to places where big organizations don't go, because it's just not really worth the hustle for their huge bureaucratic machine to organize a mobile clinic in a village where there are like 30-40 people.
And actually, just to clarify, this is kind of important, a lot of those organizations don't go to areas that are near the front. And Base UA is always near the front line, sometimes on the front lines, going to places where nobody else will go because it's too risky. And so the commitment and the bravery of your team is amazing.
That is very much true. I mean, mostly it's just because we really want to make sure that the resources that are available are used in the most effective way. And being in a small organization with limited resources, we try to put them to good use. So we go to places where others don't go, because we know the need there is present. We don't create, parallel structures. Obviously, if MSF or UNICEF goes somewhere and people are covered there, then it doesn't make sense for us to go there. So we go to remote places, hard to reach, and quite often closer to the front lines than other organizations can reach simply out of their bureaucratic kind of protocols.
Thank you for your time.
Sure, thank you guys.
And I've worked with this organization as well in the Donbas. I was part of their team doing evacuations in Bakhmut. And so if you want to support an organization doing the work, this is one of them, Base UA. So this is the mobile medical clinic. Come inside. This is one of our physicians here prepping patients. Say hello.
А кому он потом покажет?
Людям, які будуть донатити гроші.
They provide these medical services to remote places where they don't have access to healthcare. So it's a critical service. And this is Anton. Do you want to just give us a quick brief about why you provide these services and where?
Sure. I mean, we've been working in the Donetsk region for over a year now, and we adapt to whatever needs are presented on the ground. And obviously, primary healthcare is basically non-existent. In certain areas, especially the areas that are hard to reach, that are close to the front lines. So we're trying to cover the gaps. Bigger organizations like MSF are working here as well, and we're trying to coordinate and see where they can't reach.
So there's no overlap, and
exactly.
Like you said, you're filling the gaps.
Exactly.
So without this mobile clinic, there's a lot of people that would just go without not just healthcare, but many people are injured, sick, and they just don't have access to anything. So you provide that.
Exactly.
Yeah, the services that they are providing, I can't emphasize enough, are very critical to so many people living in areas that are completely just destroyed, and they just don't have access to basic services. And as we all know, access to medical care is something that, well, we take for granted back home, most of us.
Primary healthcare is essential. There is never enough of it because the population that actually stays behind is the elderly, the sick, those that are socially and economically are weak. So we are really trying to help them out. We are distributing medication. We're providing with diagnostics. We have several doctors here on the ground. We have doctors connecting online. So obviously we just want this thing to continue going, and as long as we can finance it, we'll be keeping working here.
Yeah, just wanted to say that this mobile clinic is also important in terms of kind of psychological way, because they feel like they are not left behind, and they, like, somebody is taking care of them, and it's really important that it's just going on.
So, just to be clear on just how important this service is, they're operating in a war zone. Some of the towns they work in are being shelled. They are very close to the front, and they're providing healthcare and medical services for people who just simply would not have it. So if you want to support a mission that's providing some of the most important basic services that nobody else is, Base UA is, well, let's just say I've worked with them and I could vouch for them, and I could tell you that they are doing the work that nobody else is. And imagine if you were injured or sick and you had no access to healthcare or medical services. This is what they do. Can you turn around? Are you wearing capes behind? Is there a cape behind this? Oh, okay, he's not wearing his cape today, but he is. Oh, wait, no, if you could turn around, I just want them to see this. All right, so that's his cape. These are what real heroes look like.
Well, so, do this with your support.
And that's to keep it real. Yes, this is true. They do get support, but it's not enough. So I'm asking you to help us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава. At the end of the day, this war will be won at the battlefield. So for a few months actually now, we have been working with a medical unit and transporting casualties from the trauma stabilization points, which are basically the only care facilities that are very, very close to the front lines, and that's where the injured soldiers are brought to. They are stabilized there, and then we transport them to surgery facilities in the bigger cities around here.
And then also, in addition to casualty evacuations of wounded, Base UA also does evacuations of civilians from the areas where the fighting is taking place. And you've been doing that pretty much since the beginning of the war, correct?
Yeah, I mean that was our main activity, our main focus at the very beginning. We were evacuating 70, 80 people a day, and obviously lots of children, lots of women, lots of people with disabilities, but also just regular families that didn't have means on their own to get out of a city that was under constant shelling. And we try to also take care of these people once we take them out. We also have a bit of a program going on that we call Rebase, where we don't just evacuate people but actually relocate them, and that's again something that really needs financial support and where you can support people directly. We relocated several families from Sivers, provide the self-sufficiency for them, and we just loaded all of that and brought it to a safe place in central Ukraine, and those families now are living perfectly normal lives, and is actually possible with very little money, but it is still crucial to have that support, because the war hasn't stopped. It's not going anywhere. It's just a different phase of this long-term conflict, and we are here as long as it's needed, and as long as people like you will support us.
If you've been following the news, you would know that Bakhmut is now under Russian occupation, and what's left is destroyed. So the 1,000 civilians they got out would either be dead or living in rubble under Russian occupation. So once again, just one of many examples of how important this work is. Taking people to the next step. So it's not just about evacuating them from the combat zone, but where do they go? How do you take care of them? And they've thought that out, and they've implemented a plan for the follow-on care. And also we could maybe talk briefly about the arts community projects that you do with children.
That's a huge priority for us, and it's becoming always more and more of a focal point because unfortunately...
Shelling in the background, I don't know if you can hear it.
It's unbelievably tragic to know that there are thousands and thousands of children still living in cities like Konstantinivka, Kramatorsk, and other cities that are very close to the front line that are being targeted by rockets and shelling on a daily basis. And these kids are not going anywhere, but they are completely cut off from any social life and activities. Most of them go to school online, if at all, because also not all of them have connection. And that's obviously something you don't see immediately, but long term, we think that's the biggest problem that our country is going to face. All these generations that are being traumatized.
Generations of trauma.
And so we are trying both to rehabilitate them and give them platforms where they can find a safe space to work on their experience, to reflect on them. So we have these art camps taking place in the western part of Ukraine, in the mountains, in the nature, where we work with internally displaced kids from occupied territories or frontline areas. So they have moved inside Ukraine to a safer place, but they all went through some absolutely unimaginable, catastrophic events, living for 3, 4, 5 months in a bomb shelter, having their parents lost. And we try to work with them through art, create a safe space where through art they can reflect, they can connect. Obviously, that's the most important thing. Share their experiences with other kids.
So if you want to support us, if you want to help us, your donation money goes to all these different projects addressing the trauma that these children experience, getting wounded soldiers evacuated to a higher level of care, evacuating civilians, and providing medical care in the field. So it's if you really want to support the Ukrainians, this is a way to do it. This is an organization that's doing the work on the front lines, and they're doing it in a way that is effective. And once again, this is an ask. I'm asking you for your help, and you can see where your dollars will go. So God bless once again. Till victory, Slava Ukraini.
Heroям Slava, and thank you for everything you've been doing and continue doing, because obviously without all this amazing and incredible support, none of this would be possible. So we just hope that we're all patient enough and we just get through all of this and at some point get to a better future.